Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend plenary session of 15th BRICS Summit on Wednesday to also hold bilateral meetings with fellow leaders on the sidelines. Addressing the BRICS Business Forum in South Africa, Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India will be growth engine for the world, asserts India will soon be a $5 trillion economy. It's the D-Day for India's lunar mission. Chandrayaan 3 will attempt to make soft landing on the moon's south pole on Wednesday. African Union suspends Niger from all its activities and prepares for sanctions, reiterates the calls for coup leaders to immediately release the president from house arrest. India's Praggnanandhaa and world number 1 Magnus Carlsen draw first game of chess World Cup final. Players return for day 2 of the final on Wednesday. All right, let's begin with updates on the BRICS Summit in South Africa first. The 15th BRICS Summit enters its second day, and the summit in Johannesburg, South Africa has brought together leaders of Brazil, China, India and Russia. A central focus of the summit will be the possible expansion of BRICS. Leon Senegate tells us what is expected in Wednesday's discussions.
The opening day of the BRICS Summit provided broad discussions on the opportunities the BRICS bloc has to offer. But the bigger discussion takes place Wednesday when the BRICS leaders converge to review the gains made so far, but also the prospects of the bloc. Expansion will be the major talking point as the bloc is becoming more attractive because of its economic strength and potential.
As we celebrate the 15th anniversary of BRICS, trade between BRICS countries totaled some $162 billion last year. Foreign investment has played an important role in the growth of BRICS economies. Total annual foreign direct investment into BRICS countries is 4 times greater than it was 20 years ago.
Trading cities.
As many as 20 nations have formally applied to become BRICS members, some including Argentina, Egypt, Saudi Arabia and even Iran. South Africa, China and Russia appear to share optimism about expanding the bloc. India says it enters those discussions with an open mind. The BRICS leaders will, however, have to come to a consensus to admit new members. Whether or not to do that is one of the much-awaited decisions expected from the summit. Leon Senyange in Johannesburg, reporting for DD India.
India will soon become a $5 trillion economy. That's according to Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he addressed the BRICS Business Forum in Johannesburg on Tuesday. He added that India is the fastest growing major economy in the world and that the country will become the world's growth engine in the coming years.
वर्तमान समय में भी कोविड महामारी, तनावों और विवादों के बीच विश्व आर्थिक चुनौतियों से जूझ रहा है। ऐसे समय में ब्रिक्स देशों के एक बार फिर महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। फ्रेंड्स, वैश्विक अर्थव्यवस्था में उथल-पुथल के बावजूद भारत आज विश्व की फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग मेजर इकोनॉमी है। जल्द ही भारत $5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बन जाएगा। इस बात में कोई संदेह नहीं कि आने वाले वर्षों में भारत विश्व का ग्रोथ इंजन होगा। मैं आप सभी को भारत की विकास यात्रा में शामिल होने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं। कोविड महामारी ने हमें रेजिलिएंट और इंक्लूसिव सप्लाई चेन्स के महत्व को सिखाया है। इसके लिए आपसी विश्वास और पारदर्शिता बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। हम एक दूसरे की ताकतों को जोड़कर पूरे विश्व, खासतौर पर ग्लोबल साउथ के कल्याण में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दे सकते हैं।
Prime Minister also said that the BRICS grouping has become a platform for discussing and deliberating on issues of concern for the entire global south. Also, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa too addressed the BRICS Business Forum. The South African president said that BRICS has contributed immensely in transforming the shape of the world economy.
The changes that have taken place in BRICS economies over the past decade have done much to transform the shape of the global economy. Together, the BRICS countries make up a quarter of the global economy. They account for a fifth of global trade and are home to more than 40% of the world's population. This agglomeration of these 5 countries has a major impact on various aspects of the global activity and life.
Concluding day 1 of the summit, India's Prime Minister visited the summer place to participate in the BRICS leaders' retreat. He was warmly greeted by the host, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Prime Minister Modi, along with other BRICS leaders, will use the BRICS platform to deliberate on global developments and seek solutions to global challenges. All right, let's turn focus now to another piece of news which will be in focus all through the day today. It is the D-Day for India's historic mission to the moon. Chandrayaan-3 will attempt to make a soft landing on the moon's south pole on Wednesday. Experts say that the final 15 to 20 minutes will be highly crucial for the success of the mission when Chandrayaan-3's Vikram lander will make its soft landing. The powered descent is expected to commence around 1745 hours IST or 5:45 p.m. in the evening, while the landing will take place around 6:04 p.m. IST. Russia's Lunar 25 spacecraft crashed this weekend and it was also on its way to the moon's south pole. Now this means that Chandrayaan-3 could become the first mission to land on the moon's dark side. This is India's third lunar mission, and India says it aims to study the moon's geology, water resources, and potential for future human exploration. You can watch the entire landing of Chandrayaan-3 live on ISRO's website as well as Doordarshan's national television this evening from 5:27 p.m. IST. How important is this day not just for India but also a day in space exploration? Let's talk more about it with our correspondent Akshay Dongare, who's joining us in studio. Akshay, good morning. It is in fact the D-Day for India's historic mission. This will be the third attempt by India. Let's understand from you, what would it mean if the mission successfully makes a soft landing?
Well, Preeti, we are looking at a mission that is not just important for India but for the rest of the world, because this perhaps may be the first mission that is successful in making a soft landing at the south pole of moon, and that will be the first in fact successful mission if Chandrayaan-3 does that, because the scientists at the ISRO have also been saying that if everything fails, if all the sensors go haywire, still the soft landing will continue and it will take place. So that is going to be a marvelous feat. It is less than 12 hours now. All eyes are on the Chandrayaan-3 mission, and it's not just India that is keeping close watch on that. It's the rest of the world that has ambitions as far as the possibility of exploration of untouched areas of moon are concerned.
And also given the fact that Russia's Lunar 25 mission crashed this weekend, so all the more focus on India's attempt there. But Akshay, tell us more about why is there so much hype, so much focus about moon's south pole?
South Pole is the area that has not been explored yet. There have been several missions to the moon, but all of those have been at the northern pole. South Pole is considered the dark side of the moon, and that is why the highest probability of finding water deposits, finding minerals, and if there are attempts of a human settlement perhaps in future, that is going to be, South Pole is going to be the ideal place, ideal location for that, and that is why a lot of focus has been on South Pole. It is also very difficult because since it's considered the dark side of the moon, you find it at the last moment when the landing is taking place, that what are the hurdles, what are the problems as far as the landing is concerned. There may be craters, there may be hills. So that is why this mission becomes extremely crucial. As you have rightly mentioned, the last 15 to 20 minutes are going to be the most crucial ones, also have been termed as 17 minutes of terror. So all eyes will be on that, and we all hope that finally India makes this so far, that the feat that has not been achieved yet by any other country, it is achieved by India first. Yes, and we
hope that India sails through these 17 minutes of terror. But then, Akshay, let us also understand from you, if this mission is successful, where will it place India on the global page in the field of space exploration? Because we've seen that India will not be the first country which is attempting a mission to the moon. Previously also we've seen countries have attempted, but it will be, a first of its kind for India, given the fact that it will be a soft landing on the south pole of the moon. Where will it place us on the global page when we talk of space exploration?
Well, India, when we are talking about the space missions that India has been carrying out since 1975, when we got a first satellite, Aryabhatta, in orbit, and ever since then it has been a journey upwards. So as far as the global scenario is concerned, India will be the fourth country after US, China and the erstwhile USSR to do this kind of soft landing, but India will be also the first country to do a soft landing on the south pole. Right. So that will place India in a unique manner, in unique capabilities of doing these kind of missions. And if we are talking about settlements on the moon, if we are talking about mineral exploration or exploration of water, if we can make this successful landing, then India will be the first country and perhaps the most reliable country as far as the exploration of the southern pole of moon is concerned. So that is going to be a unique placement for India as far as the space missions are concerned, as far as moon exploration is concerned.
All right. So on that note of positivity, optimism, yes. Let's end this conversation here. Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us this morning in the studios. So that was an overlook of what is to be expected today evening when India's Chandrayaan 3 will be attempting to make a soft landing on the south pole of the moon. We'll keep you updated. Up next, we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines today. The President of India, Draupadi Murmu, will address the 34th convocation of Goa University and also interact with the members of tribal groups of the state on Wednesday. President Murmu is on a 3-day visit to the state. The President laid a wreath at the Martyrs Memorial at Azad Maidan in Panaji on Tuesday to pay tributes to the martyrs of Goa liberation struggle. She also distributed sanad under the Forest Rights Act to some beneficiaries on the occasion. In the northeastern state of Manipur, State Governor Anusuya Ueke has summoned the State Assembly session on the 29th of this month. The session has been called to discuss the ongoing violence in the state and also explore ways to solve the issue through a peaceful and amicable dialogue. The decision was taken after the state cabinet had earlier recommended the governor for summoning the 4th session of the 12th Manipur Legislative Assembly earlier this month. And also, Indian Coast Guard has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Philippine Coast Guard on Tuesday to enhance maritime cooperation. The implementation of this MOU will enhance bilateral maritime cooperation between the two nations for ensuring safe, secure and clean seas in the region. Now, both sides held their first bilateral meeting on a range of maritime issues. A 5-member delegation of the Philippine Coast Guard is on an official tour to India from 20th to 24th of August. To cater to the high demand for sugar during the upcoming festive season, the Indian government on Tuesday announced an additional allotment of 2 lakh tons of sugar in the domestic quota for August. This is over and above 23.5 lakh tons already allotted to the mills. The decision takes into account the expected surge in demand during festivals such as Onam, Raksha Bandhan and Janmashtami. It aims to maintain reasonable sugar prices throughout the country, benefiting consumers and traders alike. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live, African Union suspends Niger from the bloc over coup, calls on ECOWAS to review military action plan. 16 people reported dead in central Mexico road crash. Some 36 passengers were injured and taken to hospital after the bus crashed.
The gateway to Northeast India welcomes you to the land of untouched natural beauty and diverse history.
You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. Let's continue getting you more international updates. The African Union has suspended Niger from all of its institutions and activities until the effective restoration of constitutional order following the last month's coup. The suspension announcement was the Council's first public communication since it met earlier this month to discuss Niger's crisis. Suspension means Nigerian representatives from the head of state down can no longer vote on AU proposals or participate in the organization's committees or working groups. The Council's action was part of a standard playbook the AU and regional bodies have taken in response to the coups elsewhere in Africa. At least 16 people have died in a road accident in central Mexico. A total of 52 passengers were traveling on the bus when it collided with a freight truck. Officials say more than 30 people were injured. Based on initial reports, over 47 passengers had been on board, with the majority believed to be migrants from Venezuela. And still with Mexico, Texan authorities have installed concertina wire fencing along the border with Mexico in an effort to keep migrants away from entering the U.S. In a recent month, the state has put fencing and roads along the riverbanks in a contentious effort to deter migration from Mexico. The U.S. state has also installed the Department of Justice of Mexico has sued Texas, arguing that Texas installed them without proper federal approval. Severe rains have lashed south-central Chile, causing flooding and forcing thousands to evacuate. President Gabriel Boric announced a state of emergency in 4 provinces, and several people have reportedly been killed. The National Disaster Prevention and Response Service says that there are around 38,000 people without electricity. And weather woes continue. Tropical cyclone Franklin made landfall in the Caribbean, causing streets along the Colombian coast town to overflow. People in Cartagena, a popular tourist hotspot in the colonial, had to endure severe rain since the dawn. Over the next 2 days, Franklin over the eastern Caribbean had a disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico, and they are in fact predicted to get stronger. The storm may deliver heavy rains to some sections of the island and neighboring Puerto Rico through the middle of the week. Let's get you the latest on wildfires now. The Turkish northwestern region of Çanakkale has been engulfed by wildfires, prompting evacuation orders. Due to the ongoing blazes, travel from the Aegean Sea to the Sea of Marmara has been suspended. 6 villages in its route had to be evacuated due to the forest fire, according to Agriculture and Forestry Minister Ibrahim Yumakli. As a wildfire rages through the western town of Lak near Albania, firefighters and the army battle to keep the flames away, threatening the homes. Despite the deployment of 50 soldiers, according to Niko Paleshi, Minister of Defense, the challenging terrain makes it difficult to put out the fire. Albania has charged 14 individuals with setting wildfires in July alone, an offence that carries a maximum 15 years prison sentence. In the US, in Washington, firefighters are battling 2 massive blazes, burning more than 20,000 acres of forest and more than 100 buildings. The Oregon Road fire in northern Spokane County has burned more than 10,000 acres, destroyed 80 buildings, posing threat to more than 1,000 single-family homes, according to Northwest Interagency Coordination Center. The Peruvian Ubinas volcano registered 2 explosions, leaving nearby towns covered in ashes after over a month of no reported activity. Ubinas, the most active volcano in Peru, erupted, releasing a cloud of smoke and ash, rising 11,482 feet into the air. The instant a black cloud comes out of the crater. Earlier in July, 4 explosions prompted officials to establish an orange alert and a 60-day state of emergency. All right, so that was about the weather fury across the world. Now let's take a look at other news which has been making it to the headlines. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Srettha Thavisin on his election as the new Prime Minister of Thailand. Srettha won the backing of 2/3 of the parliament to become the 30th Prime Minister of Thailand. His victory paved the way for the Pheu Thai party to form a new coalition government, bringing an end to 3 months of political deadlock. All 8 people trapped in a broken cable car in Pakistan were rescued on Tuesday. This was a unique rescue operation that lasted more than 15 hours. 7 children and 1 man were stranded about 900 feet in the air after one of the cable lines carrying the car snapped while they were crossing a river canyon. Also, army officials have called it an extremely dangerous and difficult operation. Voting begins in Zimbabwe on Wednesday to elect a new president. The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has approved 11 candidates. The current president, ZANU-PF's octogenarian Emmerson Mnangagwa, became the president in 2018 after a coup ousted former leader Robert Mugabe in 2017. 1/6 of the registered electorate are first-time voters. A rare and unique giraffe has been born at a zoo in the United States. The baby giraffe has no spots on her body, unlike most of her species. Born on July 31st, she is the only, in fact, solid-colored giraffe in the world. The last known recorded spotless giraffe was born in a zoo in Japan in 1972. Up next, we take a look at sports updates. Chess. Talking of chess, the first game of the FIDE World Cup final between India's Praggnanandhaa and world number 1 Magnus Carlsen ended in a draw after 35 moves. Praggnanandhaa, playing with white pieces, was ahead on time at the start of the contest, but was unable to press on his advantage and came under trouble himself by the end. Both players will return for game 2 of the final today. If the match is not decided in the second game also, then the tiebreakers will set in. Praggnanandhaa had stunned world number 3 Fabiano Caruana on Monday via the tie-break in the semi-finals to set up a summit clash with Carlsen. All right, on to badminton now. India's Lakshya Sen reached the third round of the Badminton World Championships. The Indian shuttler eased past Korea's Jeong Yok-jin in straight sets on Tuesday. Sen dominated the proceedings in the second round match and defeated his opponent 21-11, 21-12 in a match that lasted only 36 minutes in Copenhagen. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, which is also formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. Also, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.